Hey there, Master D coming at you again with another barbecue buyer's guide, this time to Canadian offset smokers. All right, I've got some chapter times here if you want to jump ahead in the episode or to one particular part. Feel free to do that. Also, please like and subscribe to this channel. We're always trying to put out some great barbecue content for you. And like I do, I put on some maps for you. It is important to understand the location of some of these places, and proximity does play a role in how much you'll pay for shipping. So, over to the left, we have Midwest Barbecue Pits in Alberta, then Bulldog Barbecues, and the thing about Bulldog Barbecues is every time I tried to contact them for information, they did not reply. So this is the only place you're going to see them. Maybe you'll have better luck. They seem to be, a Horizon Smokers style operation. Their pits seemed very close in design to what I could tell from their pictures. So, maybe they'd build you a smoker if they're still in the business. Then down in the Ottawa, Toronto, and Montreal area, we have Smith Steel there to the westmost part. Then Smoke North, Capo Cooktops in the Toronto area, Smokin Canadian BBQ right east of Ottawa, and then east of Montreal, we have Hamrforge. All right, and currently, one Canadian dollar is equal to 78 cents in the United States currency. I am in the United States. Apparently, you can get these smokers shipped to the United States. There used to be a tariff on Canadian steel. I believe that has been dropped. If you know of any impediment, any import duties, or anything like that, put it in the comments. But as far as I know, it's pretty much just buying and shipping like usual. You're going to have to get the currency converted somehow. I'm not entirely sure how that's done. If you have experience buying Canadian smokers from the US, please let us know in the comments. All right. We're going to start off with Capo Cooktops. Rob is the owner operator of Capo Cooktops. He's really passionate about making the best offset smokers that he can. I know him just a little bit through Facebook, but these are some of his builds. He's got the 50-gallon there. And for each of these, I'm going to have the Canadian dollar price as well as the conversion factor price. So it's 3,450 Canadian, 26.91 American for the 80 gallon, 4,100, and then American 31.98. The 160 gallon, 5,700, and 44.46 in American currency. The 222 gallon, 7,100, and 55.38 in American currency. All right, and we do have the features here. So, fold down stack, similar to primitive pits and workhorse pits. The door stop there, that T is a door stop. It's not a counterweight. They do offer counterweights, and we're going to see that on the next page. Stylistic circle cutouts, so does a lot of laser cutting there. Bottom shelf is an upcharge, so you see the prices there starting at 350 Canadian, going all the way up to 500. Dehydration plate, okay, so it's sort of a fancier pot warmer in a sense. You can put your wood up there, other sort of things you want to get warm from the heat coming off the firebox. It's up to you. Casters come standard. Reinforcement on the doors, I believe, comes standard. So you'll see that on Moberg smokers. Those doors, they can warp over time, strangely enough. So having that reinforcement there is a good thing. There's an off-road package for the 50 and 80 gallon. It's 2,600 Canadian. 2800 for the 120, and 3200 for the 222 gallon. All right, we have some more upgrade options. The second level shelf there, 300 to 500, depending on the size smoker. High temp coating, 1800 all the way up to 3000, depending on the size smoker, as well as what color you want. So different colors cost different amounts. Same for the two-toned automotive paint. So you see ranging from 1200 to 2400. Now, the linseed oil coat, of course, is going to be a good deal less expensive than the paint. So 400, 450, 600, and 800. I put on a linseed oil coat for my own smoker. So if you want to check that out, it is something you can do yourself. So, if you wanted to save that money, it is a lot of work, though. I can tell you that. The counterweight is going to be 180, 200, 520, or 550, depending on the size smoker you order. All right, and now we have Smoke North, the Carlisle, and the Huron. Now, the Huron is 6,225 Canadian dollars and 4,980 American dollars. So, one thing is that they actually sell it in both currencies, and I didn't know that my browser had automatically put it in American dollars, so I thought it was Canadian dollars. So this part of the video has actually been redone, and I put the video back out just for this purpose of having some wrong numbers from Smoke North. The Carlisle is 5,225 Canadian dollars and 4,180 American dollars. Now, these are some pretty high prices, and part of it has to do with the amount of stainless steel that's involved. Stainless steel is more expensive than just regular mild steel. So, stainless steel stack, stainless steel handles, they put that grooving in so you get really easy grip there. They have an oil finish. They say it's food safe, which counts out linseed oil. I'm not sure what oil it is, but they do an oil finish. Semi insulated firebox. Now, this is one of the cooler things that they have. So they build sort of a tray there in the bottom that is above the actual bottom of the firebox. So there's an air gap there, and that air gap is going to insulate the coals, which, especially in these Canadian winters, is probably really helpful. So that is a great feature. Stainless cast iron grates. I've never been a fan of cast iron grates. On my previous offset, I had them. It's a lot of cleaning. Maybe with the stainless, it'll be less. When I think of cast iron, it's supposed to transfer heat. So in when you're barbecuing, not really something that you're looking for. You want most of the heat to be convection, the air passing hot, the hot gases, the smoke, and the air around your meat. So I'm not a huge fan of that feature in itself. So, all right, and now some upgrades. Got the IPE Brazilian walnut folding shelf. So it is sustainably resourced, but yeah, that rainforest wood is actually incredibly heat resistant. So it can definitely be used for this application. It's going to be very nice for probably your lifetime owning it, but it's 500 Canadian. Handmade cover over there for 476. Probe port, $50 Canadian, and an extra thermometer. Okay, is going to be an extra 80 Canadian dollars. All right, and now we've got Midwest barbecue pits out of Sundre, Alberta. So traditional flow, we have the 2040 and the 2448. And that picture down there illustrates the difference of the sizes. You've got the 2448 on the left in that bottom picture, and then the 2040 on the right. The 2040 is 2,150 Canadian or 1677 American. The 2448 is 2650 Canadian or 2067 American. The reverse flow 2040 is 2500 Canadian or 1950 American. The 2448 is 3100 Canadian or 2418 American. All right, and some of these things we've got a bolt-on stack, just like the Smoke North. The stack is not stainless steel; it's mild steel. There's one thermometer that comes standard. Also, I think that the stack may not be quite as tall as the one that I pictured. For this, I think that might have been an upgrade or custom build. So, if you do get this smoker and you're expecting that, that may not be what it is. The probe port is now coming standard from what they've told me. Castered standard, wood rack standard as well. The warming plate, I don't think is standard though. So that's in the picture there. Okay. And the additional thermometer is going to be another 80. Second level shelf, 175. Hot plate, like I said, on top is 200. Boiled linseed oil finish, 100. High temp black paint, 200. Clear is also 200. So very reasonable prices there. Now, the insulated firebox, you can either get it round or square. I think that you can only get square for insulated. I don't think that they do that just regularly. So that would be a point of discussion as well. But it's 450 to 800 depending on what you want there. Uh, Upcharge. If you want the top load firebox, they call it front load. I'm not entirely sure why. It is 250. So usually we like to do that so you can grill in the firebox, but I'm not entirely sure if they actually have any sort of grilling apparatus there, any rack or anything. So it might just be a door. Now we've got Smokin Canadian BBQ. So this is their backyard smoker. They do have several more sizes. I only included this smoker, however. It's 2,400 Canadian and then 1872 American. It does come standard with that rain topper. I believe also the counterweight. The pizza oven is $300 extra for this backyard one. Apparently, they'll do a pizza oven on any of their sizes, which is a fun fact. And now we're going on to Smith Steel and Fabrication. They've got two standard models, but apparently they'll build you whatever you want. 15-inch there and the 19-inch. They also usually have these uprights, smoking boxes that they put in the stack. So for the 15-inch, 3,200 Canadian, 2,496 American. Then the 19-inch is 4,000 Canadian and 3,120 American, today's conversion factor. So we already talked about the upright smoking chamber. They have two thermometers there, one on the upright smoker and then one on the grill area. Warming plate there. Two shelves on the 19-inch and one shelf on the 15. The fire basket we're going to see on the next page for upgrades. But let's take a look at that. All right, and it's going to be around $100, depends on steel prices. I asked about prices for these upgrade options. Apparently, they change whenever the price of steel changes, which lately has been pretty often. So I didn't push for prices. I could have, they could have priced it out for me, but you can get stainless steel grills. I think you can get the whole thing in stainless steel, which would probably be quite a lot right now. Black walnut handles, two 5-inch temperature gauges, maple leaf wheels, color paint, custom initials, and monogram on the firebox. They have the British spelling of color there. Warming plate on the firebox grill. And now we're going on to Hamrforge. I was really disappointed in the episode that I did on reverse flow smokers when I felt like I couldn't include this one just because none of the American dealerships were carrying it anymore. So I'm glad to get to cover it now, but it's currently 7,500 Canadian and 5,850 American in the conversion factor. All right. Now let's take a look at this thing. It's eye popping. There's nobody who can say that it's not. That front door there is something that you don't see very often, especially to that extent. You have those Gator Pit of Texas pits that have a front access door for charcoal, but nothing like the whole thing coming off, like we have here. And that will allow you to use this thing as a pizza oven, as you see up there in the top left. Damper system, unlike anything I've seen. It has those cogs there that push dampers to the side. Front shelf, one grade included. It can hold three, so we're going to see that in upgrades. The double stack fire basket, I believe, comes standard. The carriage down there with the spoke wheels and everything, really iconic. For the extra grills, if you want that, 299 Canadian for each extra one. So you could do almost 600 Canadian to fill out the thing. Okay. And now we're on to charts. All right, and we're going to start off with the base price. We've got the Midwest 20 by 40, then the Smokin Canadian Backyard Pit Midwest 20 by 40 reverse, Midwest 2448, Midwest 2448 reverse, the Smith Steel 15-inch, the Capo Cooktops 50 gallons, Smith Steel 19-inch, Capo Cooktops 80 gallon, Smoke North Carlisle, Capo Cooktops 160 gallon, Smoke North Huron, Capo Cooktops 222 gallon, and then the Hamrforge Beast. And then Equalized Price. So the main thing here is that Capo Cooktops is a little bit more a la carte. So I added in the bottom wood rack as well as the linseed oil coat, just because all the rest of them have coats of some kind and a wood rack, except for the Hamrforge Beast. So couldn't get everything equal. But when we look at this, we're not going to see any huge changes. All right, the 50 gallon has moved as well as the 160 gallon. So the 50 gallon used to be between the two Smith Steels, and the 160 gallon used to be between the Carlisle and the Huron. So that has changed. All right, and now we're gonna go look at the bottom rack of the main chamber, the main smoking chamber, in inches squared. So one of the things we're gonna see here is that the Smith Steels, because they have that upright and they have a slightly smaller main rack area, it's gonna affect them here. And that Smith Steel 15-inch is gonna be really small there. Then the 19-inch, the 50-gallon Capo Cooktops, Midwest 20 by 40, Midwest 2040 reverse, the Hamrforge Beast, the Carlisle, the Backyard Smokin Canadian, the 80-gallon, the Huron, the Midwest 24 by 48, Midwest 24 by 48 reverse, Capo Cooktops 160 gallon, and 222 gallon. So if we're looking at that Huron, the 80 gallon, not that much smaller, which I guess you could say, the Smokin Canadian Backyard Pit also has the same, maybe it's 80 gallons as well, interestingly enough. That Midwest 24 by 48, a little bit bigger than the Huron. So, some very interesting things. And this really corresponds most significantly to the volume of the main chamber. That the bottom grate will hopefully tell us that maybe more than anything else, except for those Smith steels. All right, and now all available inches. So that doesn't include the firebox, which really Smith steel looks like it might be the only one that has any cooking space in the firebox at all. But when we add in all smoking space, and that's going to include the uprights for the Smith steel, we're going to see that the 50-gallon. Now, one thing to note also here is that for Capo Cooktops, you can get a second level rack, but you decide where it is. The higher you go up in the chamber, the smaller it's going to be as you get closer to that rounded top. But it's going to give you more space on the main rack. And the reverse is true. So Rob lets you choose where you want it, and that determines the size of it. So those numbers can't be included. The Carlisle, the Smoke North Carlisle and Huron it's not an option on their website. And the Smokin Canadian Backyard Pit also not an option that is there, though you can probably get it as well. So the main things that are going to be affected here are the Midwest pits, and we're also going to see the relative comparisons of the Smith Steel and the Hamrforge Beast that has that through rack possibility. So we are going to notice that the Cable Cooktop 50-gallon is now on the bottom, then the Carlisle, Smokin Canadian Backyard, the 80-gallon, the Huron, and now we're going to get to see some of the other ones. The Midwest 20 by 40 in reverse, the Smith Steel 16-inch, Cable Cooktop 160-gallon, Midwest 24 by 48 in reverse, the Cable Cooktops 222-gallon, the Smith Steel 19-inch, and then the Hamrforge Beast. So, dollar per inch is squared standard. So, the inches that come standard with the pit. So, right off the bat, you see that Hamrforge Beast up there. You know, it only has one of the three racks that come with it. 9.89 Canadian dollars per inches squared there. So we come back to the beginning. Smokin Canadian Backyard is the cheapest, $1.33. $1.92 for the 19-inch Smith Steel, 15-inch next. Then the Midwest 24 by 48 in reverse, Midwest 20 by 40 in reverse. Cable Cooktops 222-gallon, 160-gallon, 80-gallon, 50-gallon. Then the Huron, then the Carlisle, and of course the Beast way up there. All right, and then if we do the equalized numbers again, it's going to change some things. Our first, let's see, six or so are the same. In fact, it doesn't really look like anything's changed places on this one at all. But just to show you the slight shift there. And then additional inches, dollars per inches squared. Remember that the equalized is really just Capo Cooktops. So, not a huge difference there. And the Smokin Canadian Backyard still a number one. Then the Midwest pits are going to, be up here and jump ahead of Smith Steel. So Midwest 24 by 48 and 24 by 48 reverse, then the 20 by 40, then the Smith Steel 19-inch, then the 20 by 40 reverse, Smith Steel 15-inch, the Hamrforge Beast. Interestingly enough, when you get those extra racks, and remember that I did add in the price increases for all these as well. But the Beast jumps ahead of Capo Cooktops, 222-gallon, 160-gallon, the Huron, then the 80-gallon, the Carlisle, then the 50-gallon. Okay, now pounds, and for the remainder of these, we're not going to see Capo Cooktops. Rob has not weighed his pits, though he is getting a scale, so that may be something we'll see in the future. So just keep them in the back of your mind, and we're going to go forward with the others. Smokin Canadian Backyard Pit at 275. Now, this is an interesting thing. If that's quarter-inch steel, it would have to be more than 275, I think. That's what I'm thinking, that this is thinner than quarter-inch steel. So, and that maybe is going to tell us why the price is so much lower for this Smokin Canadian backyard. Now, it wasn't on the website. I didn't see it there. I didn't ask. So if you are interested in the Smokin Canadian backyard, maybe that is something you should ask. Smith Steel next, 15-inch, Midwest 20 by 40, 20 by 40 reverse. The Carlisle 24 by 48, 24 by 48 reverse. Smokin Steel 19-inch, the Huron, and then the Beast is a whole lot of steel and a whole lot of weight. Dollar per pound. All right. So Midwest 20 by 40 is the best, 24 48. After that, 20 by 40 reverse, 20 by 4, 24 48 reverse. Then the Smith Steel 19-inch, the Beast, Smith Steel 15-inch, the Huron, the Carlisle, and then the Smokin Canadian backyard being that very little weight. I wonder if, it was possible that he just estimated completely wrong on the weight, but there's no way to know. So, if you live close to where Smokin Canadian is, something to ask about. All right. Now, I like putting the dollar per inches squared and the dollar per pound on a 10-point scale between the worst and the best being 10, the worst being 0. And then, everything in between has points based on their relative distance between the best and the least. On this, with the standard inches, we have an average between the two for the Midwest 24 by 48 at the top, the 20 by 40 Smith Steel 19-inch, Midwest 24 48 reverse, 20 by 40 reverse, Smith Steel 15-inch, Smokin Canadian backyard, Huron, Carlisle, and then the Beast. Now, we add in the extra inches and cost for those inches. The Midwest 24 by 48 is still number one. Then the 20 by 40, 24 by 48 reverse, 20 by 40 reverse. Now remember that they did have extra inches that they sold with those, the second level. Okay. The Smith Steel also, Smith Steel 15-inch, the Hamrforge Beast, then the Smokin Canadian backyard, and last the Huron and the Carlisle. So, my thoughts. I think that the Midwest BBQ Pits 24 by 48 and the reverse have a really good value. Are they the snazziest? No. But they do have this kind of rustic charm. Smith Steel, also very good value. The thing to again remember is that upright is probably going to have a different temperature than the main smoking chamber. So that can be good or bad depending on how you're able to use it. So a lot of value for those pits. For custom work, Rob, he has put out some amazing pits. There's nobody more driven. I just think that he is right on his game here, making those open flow Texas style pits. So if you want something that's just looks amazing, uh, he would be the guy to call. And the Beast though is so different. It's expensive, very expensive. There's no step down like with Capo Cooktops. So, it's reverse flow. Capo Cooktops is not. At least I don't think Rob does reverse flow. So, it's one of those things. What are you after? What do you want? Lastly, Smoke North. A lot of the price and a lot of the reason they didn't do so well is the price of stainless steel being such a huge component of what they're making. So, I think that they work really well, but the real question is do you want a bunch of stainless steel, which is great. It's going to last a long time. For me, the cast iron grates kind of cancel out what I like in the semi insulated firebox. So, that is just sort of a toss up there. But, if you really want stainless steel, and if you like the aesthetics of it, I think it could be good for you, but really overall, it's probably the last one that I would consider, besides Smoking Canadian, which didn't even make it on here. All right, and as always, please add your own review to the comments. If you own one of these smokers, let us know about it. Let all the other people watching this know about it too. Let's help each other out. And you know what? Go get your smoke on, y'all.